How do you feel about
How do I feel
scoot?
about bikers? Yeah. Okay. So this is the first interview question, right?
So how do you feel about bikers? And let's divide it.
I think scooters are okay because they don't make much noise, but those bikes that people drive around that like when they pass you, it sounds like I'm not a big fan of those because it's super annoying and loud and I don't think it actually indicates a larger penis as they seem to think it does.
I know that's like sports cars, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ah, I feel you there. What
Yeah,
about
so
bikes, real bikes, the ones we pedal with your feet?
they're awesome. Yeah, amazing. I
Awesome. Keeps
love
you
it.
safe.
Keeps you healthy, keeps you happy, lets you get sunshine. But you know, it's fucking November now, my least favorite month in the entire year, and I can't ride my bike outside because it's fucking cold outside. So I'm going to Mexico.
You're going to Mexico. When you're leaving?
I'm leaving on Thursday from Belgrade. Yeah,
Do tell, how does it feel to be so free and be able to travel anywhere you want at any point you decide to?
it feels amazing. I just wish I was like, you know, that. Okay, so the more that you do that, the less you're connected to any place in particular, and basically, yeah.
How long it took you to get there? Have you wanted this all your life? Like how long it took you to build life like of
No, I
such
don't
freedom?
have a life now because I've been phasing out over these years where I've been, first of all, working on my business to get it to the stage where it is running all on the internet. I can go where I am or be where I want. And then basically it goes up to this level where now I can be anywhere. My life is completely free. But then I go all these different places and like I'm not settled down at all and I don't have a life.
But
Once you have a life that makes you completely free, then you're just doing that, you
I
know?
know, but what I'm asking, because I'm sure there's so many people, including me, who kind of secretly envy people who have such freedom. So, like, if you can like sum it
I
up,
know
I know.
everybody's super jealous of me, and I'm super
So, what
inspired
does
by
it
the
take to
lifestyle.
get there? That's what I'm asking. Tell me, what does it take to get there, and how long it took you? Was
It
it the
took
four
me,
years you put completely just working for your business and put everything else on hold?
yeah,
Was it
well,
from the
yeah. So I just, yeah, whatever. These days, I guess it's easier if you can find someone. I don't know. It depends what your model is. I mean, I did it by first starting like wanting to live in Belgrade, only work online, and then like that was 7 years ago, and now 7 years later, I built it up so it's a business that allows other people to do it, and I'm just managing it. So I'm not like tied to a particular shift or anything. I just have scheduled appointments I have to make and all that stuff. So I can arrange those around flying around the world. So it's like everybody has to find their own path to this. Or you can get a job where you just have get work to do and you do it and submit it. I don't know. It's just like
how
there's
does
lots of
that affect your social life?
it's really awesome in one way and really crappy in another way.
Wait, so you travel a lot, like as long as I know, you've been traveling since you were 18. And what is your advice? Like the reason I'm asking these questions because I want to push actually my son to kind of a follow a little bit at least in your steps, at least traveling.
Yeah.
But I don't. He's so afraid. He's never been anywhere, and he's like, "Well, what do I do when I get to places?" I said, "Well, I've heard Eric giving the advice that stay in hostels or
Yeah, stay in a
couch
hostel
surfing, so you meet other people,
or
right?"
couch surfing. Yeah, staying in a hostel, couch surfing, stuff like that. And you just like, yeah, he's 18. He should go. Yeah, it's really scary when you go, but then you get to the hostel and you meet like people who are in the same boat as you, and then you explore with them, hear about what they've done, what they've seen, and then you join them for whatever, and then you build up that muscle. Yeah, it's
So I
scary the
remember,
first
what
time.
was that, 5, 6 years ago when you traveled through Europe, you kind of a backpacked. I remember at the end you came to Bulgaria. So did you have like
That
in
was 9
January,
years ago
9 years ago? Oh my
that I
God.
visited you in 2011. Yeah.
Jesus, yes, it was that far. So did you have like an itinerary or just jumped on bus to train, or how did you do that travel?
No, at that point I was many years into the spontaneous game, and
So it was all
honestly,
spontaneous for you.
yeah. And this trip that I'm doing now, I only have yeah, I've got 2 days in New York City, Thursday night and Friday night, and then I'm going to Mexico City for 6 days, and I don't know what I'm doing after that at this point. So I don't care,
Yeah, but
but
you're
yeah.
a pro, like you're considering the fact that
No, in
in your first.
2011, that was actually one of the most homeless times of my life because I knew I was leaving Toronto and I was not going to live there again. No way. It was not going to be possible to move back there again. I had the visa and my passport for the UK, which I had, and I knew that I had to go to London in September to make it, but I had the whole summer of essentially being homeless in Eastern Europe with, a little bit of money, like a tiny bit of money. And, yeah, so I mean, that
I think
was
that built a lot of your character back then, that trip.
that trip did, but also the going to
Consolidated some.
London, starting from zero in London, because the 3 years before that, I was going back to Toronto, and I was basically just calling up my old clients and fixing their computers again after I'd been gone for 3 months, and then leaving again, and oh yeah, it was like it was clinging to the past those 3 years, seeing and just making sure that Toronto really wasn't for me by trying to make my life there as much as my life in Eastern Europe, but like, because I was half in Belgrade, half in Toronto. So I was trying to make my life in Toronto like that. And we threw all those parties and everything. You remember, they
You
were
were good.
nice
You have an
in the
amazing
bar.
career.
Yeah, it was good, but it still wasn't it wasn't what I wanted. So it was what I wanted, but it wasn't enough for me to actually justify not going and living in Europe full time. So then in 2011, yeah, I was pretty homeless that summer.
And what was
And
the summer when you traveled with the band, with Worldly Savages? Well, that was in 2000 and what? The band,
the first with the guys from Toronto, it was 2009, and then
Ned, after with Casper
no,
Weinberg.
2010 to 2010 was with the guys from Toronto that I met there, the ones
Yeah,
that you know from the Lemon Bucket Orchestra, for example, those guys, yeah. And then in 2011, I moved to London, and then in 2012, I played with the London lineup. In 2013, with the London lineup, and did about
2012. So you did solid
150 shows, 150 shows with the people from my I met in London, and then that all ended. So it was like reset number
150
two.
shows. How long it took you to do the 150 shows?
19 months.
19 months. That's impressive. That must have built a lot of character too, and a zest for freedom.
Yeah, that's a lot of character as well. Oh my God, way too much character. Can you imagine like all the stuff that they say about bands hating each other is absolutely true. And when you live in the van with people and travel with them, and there's little money, lots of alcohol, and then girls involved as well, and all that stuff. Sometimes girls who are even in the band involved in stuff as well. And oh my God, yeah.
So you
What
must,
a
you know what I mean? Yes, probably it's challenging on your social skills, travel, not social skills, social life, traveling so much. But you
I'll
have
tell you.
amazing social skills if you have managed that band for 19 months in that van. I've seen some videos.
You make mistakes and you learn from them in a very real way.
Exactly.
So most of the skills that I lead with now, most of the skills that I lead with now are based on the stuff I learned then, based on the
Yeah.
things I learned then. Yeah.
I think you learn quicker when you're just put in a situation and you have to deal with it. That if you sit around and just try to, even it's not that you can read books on social skills, you have to just put yourself in a situation. I don't know, I'm just looking for something almost like to pick your brain to know how to push my son to do that trip next year, because like he's so afraid. And I think the traveling is probably one of the best education people can get. I know it's challenging right now, speaking of traveling,
I
when
would say
nobody's
the
going.
best way to get your son traveling is you just take him to Europe yourself and just say like either you can hang out with your mom or you can go on your own fucking
Well,
journey.
that's what I'm doing for now, and I'm trying to convince one of his friends to join, so at least he has a wingman. Cause
Yes, 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 and just slowly let them off the leash, you know?
exactly, because like at the beginning when you travel with the band, so like, and then you would like emerge into traveling
No, no, no,
solo.
no, 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 no,
You
no,
were
no.
always solo
I
traveler.
was raised by my parents to be a traveler, and
Okay.
as soon as I got from the age of 16, I was making solo trips to the United States to meet girls that I met on the internet. I think I was 16 when I first started that, and going to Montreal by myself, and like from 16, and when I got a car, it was even more like, bye parents, I'm going, yeah, ciao. And
So what do you
it's
mean? You just said that you were raised by your parents to be travelers. Tell me a little bit about your father and your mom.
Well,
Like,
my parents made sure that I traveled. I went with them, on road trips when I was a kid. My dad took me to Europe a bunch of times. Um, like to England, to Slovakia, Austria, Czech Republic to see where family's from and all that stuff and all the stories. Like my parents went to Afghanistan on their honeymoon, so they were those
Oh,
types of people. Yeah. Um,
oh,
and
yeah, that's impressive.
and even like in the last 15 years, my parents went to Ecuador, Indonesia, Brazil on their own. They still do it. They'll still do it. Last year we met in Portugal. So I was born like that, and my grandparents were the same, absolutely the same. And
And you mentioned that your dad and your grand. Hold on, there is a loud bike with a small dick passing. Hold on. He's gone. So you mentioned that your dad and your granddad were entrepreneurs like yourself, and you kind of because
kind of,
I knew
yeah.
I
I
so
guess
I've
less
heard.
stubborn because they actually had like businesses where they worked with other people and they weren't just like their own boss or something completely. They had companies they worked for. But yeah, that kind of mindset of like always be like a leader and always be trying to do new stuff and stuff like that. Nobody in my family except for my mother actually just had like a normal job and just worked a normal job their whole life.
That's good. I think the world needs more entrepreneurs and people who think for themselves because like what I see in North America right now, it's a little bit scary. How people easily manipulate it, and I think that it's like also like it's a long story of like they're being less educated, and then it's easier to manipulate a small mind than an educated mind. But
Yeah,
tell
but
me how.
then there's all these entrepreneurs, as they call them, who like people who want to be entrepreneurs and they want to be like a hashtag entrepreneur, and but they don't really have they think that no,
Tell
there's
me,
two.
tell me. That's interesting because I meet a lot of them, those hashtag entrepreneurs or influencers or whatever. They
Yeah,
just, well, everybody wants to use the social media for something, and everybody
everybody
thinks
wants to
they
have an idea. Everybody wants to be it's like it's kind of like everybody wants to be a musician as well. It's like, hey, do you want to hear this song I wrote? It's like, hey, do you want to hear the song that I wrote and played live for people 250 times? That's the fucking question I would be asking. Do you want to? Hey, I've got this idea for this app. Is that big? So does my friend's dog. Actually, it's like, hey, did you spend the last 2 years like selling it to people and having failures and tweaking it and probably not. So that's the point. I would want to hear about it. And so yes, like,
also, I know that you have a few YouTube channels, and the one with the, is it Belgrade Beat with the
yeah,
most subscribers? How many
yeah,
subscribers for that?
10,500 at this point.
So, like, for somebody who wants to start that, like, what is your advice? How do you get so far? Because for me, I mean, I am definitely not a YouTuber or anything like that. For me, 10,000, that's a big number. I know that probably in overall
Right. So that's
statistics.
just because, okay. So it's not me. Like, okay, my personality is part of that. People liking to watch me is a part of that. But it's also that it's an easily digestible idea that if you're a person from Serbia or a person who's interested in Serbia or Belgrade, the city of Belgrade, that you're going to actually be interested in a foreigner's perspective on that city, whether you're a local or another foreigner who's interested in visiting the place. So that you have to have an idea that people can easily digest and know what the channel's kind of about, and
Mhm.
then you get interest. It's like a format. It's like you're
It's
selling your
speaking of format.
personality in a
Are
frame.
your videos a certain length? Do you make
No,
them like
no,
no?
no.
They're like
But
all over
they
the
have a
place.
certain there's a certain like insight
Structure.
of, yeah, it's insights. It's the way that I package the insights about Belgrade. It's like, okay, this is a sort of like you know well-traveled kind of smart dude who has an opinion on the city and points out things that help me make sense of it. Okay, cool, let's watch this. Like, I think that's what it is.
I watched the last one. I mean, I watched not only the last one, I watched many of them, but I just watched the last one when you're announcing that you're out of there, you're going to Mexico. So for somebody who travels so much like yourself, and like that's your,
Oh, by the
like,
way, I got a corona antibody test today.
and you have it
Yeah, no, no, I
now.
got I haven't
I
had it.
told you that my parents just battled through it, and
How they
through
doing?
it, much better. Much
Okay.
better. We finally sent some medicine because they were stubborn Bulgarians. They were not going to the doctor. Balkan people, man. Go figure it out. But
Raquel
with,
Lechisve.
but they stopped drinking rakia. That's what
Oh,
was very.
that's
What
why
was
they got Corona, because Corona protects against that. Didn't you hear?
so well? They stopped at one point now, so that's why I got scared. But they're eating. They're all over the hill, as they say.
Okay.
But apparently, Bulgaria, it's like people are getting really sick, but I don't know. What was the other alternative? You either get sick and get over it, or you get the vaccine, which may paralyze you or kill you. I kind
Who
of
knows?
remember
We don't know
this.
yet. We don't know. No, we don't know anything about that. I'm happy with my risk of getting it. I think I'll
But what
survive.
me too. I'm okay with the risk, and obviously speaking of risk, you're going to Mexico. It's like for a traveler like yourself, what's left to travel in the world? What's
I've
open where
never
you
been
can
to
go?
Mexico.
You never been to
I
Mexico?
gotta go to Mexico.
Yeah,
I need to well for my business I need to find the best place for gringos to live. Gringos like me. I'm a leader of gringos. I view that like years down the road I will be known as one of the like foremost gringos in the world, who goes all around the world looking for gringo because he just can't stand living in the place where he was born,
you got time
Canada.
to bang the gringos and
What?
travel with them. Your music, how is the music? Is the music coming back into your life? You would say that you're writing a new album.
Oh yeah,
There was,
yeah. Well, you've heard most of it, right? We're almost
I've
finished.
I've heard only Burn Your Life. No, was it Burn Your Life?
Oh, yeah.
I
Well,
like this one.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
what I want to do.
You want to burn your life? Yeah. Well, you're from Bulgaria. You live in Canada. It sucks, right? You understand.
Well, I've been here 23 years. I'm getting used to, but it still sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. It's
Like
easy. It's nice. You know, there's no actual problems, but like in the lack of actual problems, people think of stupid shit to worry about.
I
Like
think people are a little bit small-minded um, for my taste. I mean, obviously, anywhere you go in the world, you can find your kind of people. And I have like certain circles of friends which think a little bit more globally and more interesting, and I get along with them. But it's funny enough that all this like corona thing like changed a lot of people, including people I thought they're really open-minded. Certainly they're hiding under the bed, and they're like younger than me and have no health problems. I'm like, what the hell is like, I mean, just keep living. Like, there is a German proverb, and you as a German person probably heard of it. It's called the fear will eat your soul, but not even eat your soul. I think the right word, it's like mango. It's like when a wild animal eats you, it doesn't eat you, but like tears you to pieces. It's a German word. I'll get it in German for you.
I don't know what it
And
is, but yeah, it sounds
I
like
love.
yeah. I mean,
I don't think there is.
basically, the fear eats your soul. Dry fear. It's
Fear.
eins, zwei. I was counting to myself. This is a song I wrote in 2003, by the way. Here, I'll
Which
just
one?
play. This is one of the ones that I'm just finishing now. I
Play it.
wrote this in the year 2003. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Yeah.
Look at us, we're so entranced. Well, the devil's got us all romanced, and we don't wanna walk away. No, it's easier just to stay as a passerby of the storm, just twirling along with the norm. There are no answers here. It's a shelter from the fear that we'll get thrown out the other side and trampled on if we don't abide by all the rules that were given. And well, even though we're not dead yet, well, it gets quite easy to forget that we're living for ourselves. All this strife, yeah, that's the force that keeps us here, away from finding our own voice, away from making our own choice. All this strife, yeah, that's the force that keeps us here, away from finding our own voice, away from
Right, that's a
making
little teaser of that.
as we break
I think
free.
of you as poet. I love your lyrics.
Thank you.
I love your lyrics. I
Thank
think
you.
of you as a poet. And I told you of the last album, Beggar and Banker. It's probably one of my favorite, but every song has such a deep meaning. And I guess it's so strange because you grew up in Canada, but you don't want to be here, and you moved to the Balkans. And I grew up at the Balkans, but I'm in Canada.
And you
But I
don't want to be there
completely,
now, but now that you
but
know
I
what
don't want
it's
to be
all
there now,
about.
and I completely understand what you're saying. And my son
But
was
hey,
listening.
listen, if I'll make something clear right here. If I grew up in fucking Serbia, I would not want to be here either because I would
Probably.
have listened to all this crap that's in people's heads and all this pessimistic fucking negative bullshit that they tell each other all the time. That, now that I speak the language here, I hear them say it and I'm like, oh, but if that's all I'd been hearing all my life, I'd want the hell out of here too. But it's about
It's good to have a different perspective. You know what I
finding
mean? It's good
as
to
many
have.
different perspectives as possible. So,
Yes, exactly, and that's what traveling gives you.
all right.
Um,
So this is the anthem of leaving the city.
okay.
This is the money moment.
Cause well soon I will break free. I'll find my destiny. I'll leave the city and I'll follow my dreams. Cause well soon I will break free. I'll find my destiny. I'll leave the city and I'll follow my dreams. Cause I don't wanna spend my last days a slave inside a glass cage. I'll leave the city and I'll follow my dreams. I don't wanna spend my last days a slave inside a glass cage. I'll leave the city and I'll follow my dreams.
Yeah, so we're almost there with this one. And it speeds up and it gets more intense and it gets, yeah. You get the idea. And then when you reach the point where you're actually leaving the city, this is what that sounds like. Here we go.
Come grind, oh well I'm leaving. Gonna see what I can find. Well I'm sick of this city and I'm sick of this living, and the food today is shitty and the people are fake. I'm sick of this grind controlling my mind, but I know I will shine when I escape. So little authenticity exists inside of this city, and I say fuck all this money and fuck all of this pain. I'm leaving, cause my life's become a grind. I'm leaving.
So the whole concept of the album is essentially like just to break free and become a gringo. Yeah,
Yeah.
but then the next album after this is going to be about the sadness of being a gringo and not
Being
having a
alone on
home.
the road.
That's the next thing I need to figure out because it's fucking lonely out there.
Well,
I
you're
just
pretty good making connections around. I think that I mean, you said that
then why am I
few
why
times you allow people to join you for a week here and there, not to travel.
yeah, okay. Well, I
That
actually
breaks a little bit, right?
newsflash, I would actually like to have a partner in my life that's a very amazing female that makes up the things that I'm missing or whatever it is. And until now I have not been able to find that person. It's hard to find that person, someone who's as free as me and can deal with this craziness and all that
And
stuff.
find another nomad like yourself, and that's very
Yeah,
hard for women. Women like to nest. That I think that's part of your problem, Erica. Women are nesters. They find a man, they start thinking about the house with a white picket fence and 2.5 children and all that. Like it doesn't matter if they're in Canada, in Serbia, or anywhere else.
yeah,
That's what women do naturally. It's ingrained in us.
okay,
And especially if you
right.
have children, you know, like you
See,
do need a
the contradiction of my type is yeah. So my type is somehow this very nice, feminine Eastern European girl, and it's kind of traditional. But then I also want someone who's been around the world, seen stuff, become the independent woman. So the mix between the traditional and the modern independent woman, and it's really hard to find.
if you ask me, you should find somebody who is in about 27 to 30 something, who is probably born by Eastern European, or not born, but at least has Eastern European background, but lives somewhere else in the world, not in Serbia. So they have double mind because I see it myself. I mean, I'm obviously older than 30, but like when I go home, I'm not Bulgarian anymore.
Yeah.
Way too soft. I became, because I've been for 22 years in Canada, so I become polite, listen to things, my mind is open. But then, in the same way, I'm not Canadian either. You
Yeah.
know, I still have that, like, I doubt everything, I question everything. I don't believe anybody. Sometimes I'm like, how did you hear about it? My friends were laughing, like, that's such a Bulgarian saying. I always say, how did you hear about it? Who told you that? You
Yeah.
know, like, I question everything. And even with, like, the stupid current situation, like, because I lived through communism, I'm like, oh my God, they're taking my rights away. I don't believe that. It's totalitarian regime, fascism. I'm the one squawking around here, you know. So I still have both sides in me. Each one, it's a little bit more soft, you know. I'm not as crazy and rough and complaining Bulgarian as somebody who never left Bulgaria. And I'm not as, like, brainwashed and, like, lacking culture or, you know, balls like Canadian people.
Mhm.
So I think that's what I'm thinking about, you finding somebody who has both worlds in them,
Yeah, both worlds.
like
Yeah, it's hard
you.
to find. Yeah.
Like you have both. Well, it's not too hard. It's not too hard. Um, I think it's like, just keep looking. Don't give
Yeah.
up.
So I always want this girl who's like good and smart and rational, but then kind of crazy and creative, because I've got both sides, that I've like both of those
Yeah,
things, like really
you are very
functioning, really,
creative.
and yeah, really crazy and creative, but also like I know how to work and get shit done. I don't let people down when I my words on the line, and when I say something, I do it, and I just like, yeah. So I want someone who's got that, and then I want somebody who, yeah, actually wants to, I don't know, have a family or something, or this tenderness, but also this toughness at the same time. Yeah, and it's hard to
Yeah,
find, and yeah, the modern woman who's also a bit
it's
traditional, and
hard also, like, because your age group is a little bit of the new generation, which they're like the, instant gratification people who doesn't want to work
yeah,
anything, who wants to just sit and ask. You, my man, you deliver to me. I've seen a lot of that, like, in the young generation, and not even the women. Like, I'm talking about my silly son. He's 18-year-old boy, just sits at home on his ass. And when I ask him to take care of something because he's working, he's like, "Oh, if you need money, just tell me." Like, it doesn't even cross his mind to say, "Yo, I'm working. Let me help out with few things here. You've been raising me for 18 years. Now I
yeah,
have a job. Can I help out?" Not that
yeah,
I need the money. I don't. I just want that conscious. And then I'm asking myself, where the hell did I went wrong? I need to push him to travel. I
yeah.
think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna push him to travel.
Well, he's 18. There's still lots of time, but I have regrets from when I was 18 that I didn't travel more. Actually, I was more in my bubble. Like even though I had glimpses of that when I was 18, like it's a very, yeah, it's a very tender age, because like when I was 18, I had that Ukrainian girl from New York City who I fell in love with, and like it was kind of like that relationship was really exciting and all that stuff, but there was also my comfort zone, and that ended up being one of the main juxtapositions. My need to sort of just like fuck off world, and I need to define myself, and then the relationship with her was pushing me one way, and the relationship with my parents was pushing me the other way, and I think you kind of just need to let him hear his internal voice while encouraging him to do things like travel, but telling him you need to travel will actually make him want to
That's not
travel
gonna work. I
less.
know already.
Yeah, you know that. So whatever anybody tells an 18-year-old boy, you need to do this, they will likely, if it's against their own intuition, they will likely tell you to fuck off, because it's like, I was just like, at that point in my life, I was like, fuck off everything. Fuck off fucking high school. Fuck off university. Fuck off everything except for me. Basically, like taking drugs and fixing computers around the neighborhood for cash. Were
Oh, you
like,
loved your song. Which one was that? Okay, Not culture,
those
not your
those two
friends.
things were what I was into, and the internet, searching and researching my stuff. And it turns out like I just made my early 20s was just me defining myself around my own inner map. And everybody thought I was absolutely crazy for quitting university, all this stuff, for traveling so much, for going to Europe. And then by the time I was 25, I was moving to Europe, and like it should have happened sooner actually, because my soul was not in the city of Toronto where I was living. I should have fucking gotten out of there at the age of 18, not gone to university, gone to somewhere completely new and started again. But I didn't, because I was in my comfort zone in Toronto. And so the one thing that was like taking me
So
outside
how
of
do you push yourself outside of that comfort zone? Or if you're a parent like me, I mean, obviously you like how do you do that for yourself, and how you push somebody else there?
I
What's
think
your
yeah, for me it was that girl in New York City really took me and showed me like a world of wonder outside of my own little bubble there, and that was great. That was amazing, and unfortunately that didn't work out, and it was really sad for me that the way it didn't work out, and the whole confusion of the whole my life with her versus my life where I was from, and all that stuff, that really didn't work out for me. It left a lot of trauma that like for a long time, just that I didn't take that chance. But yeah, a girl can take someone out of their comfort zone, but just um trying new things. Friends need to do it. He needs to get friends who are doing similar things, I think.
So I think that maybe when my son breaks up with his girlfriend, he'll be ready to take that plunge,
There
right?
you go. There you go. Probably, yeah. Yeah.
So she's already being a little bit Canadian, which, like, as you can imagine, works very well with me. Yeah, like first of all, I'm a mama bear, and a couple of times he mentioned something, and I'm like, I'm gonna tear her to pieces. I as literally I translated the Bulgarian saying and said, I'm gonna sweep the street with her hair. He said, don't do that. And then I'm waiting for them to break up. Maybe then he'll get the balls to travel, because he will have to prove something to himself. Right now, he's in that comfort zone. She's there. University is like just him being on the couch, or not on the couch, in his bed, in his underwear, with a laptop in his lap,
Hmm.
which I said that I'm not paying for, like next year for sure. If that's the situation, I'm not paying. Like, I don't know even if I shall pay for next semester. But where does one can travel these days besides Mexico? What's free to travel?
Turkey, Mexico. He's got EU citizenship, so he can go to the EU for sure.
Everywhere in EU?
There's different rules are changing all the time. You really need to just see the week before you want to go and just like do it. I'm traveling to New York City via to New York City and then Mexico this week, because those are the countries that are open for people coming from Serbia to go to.
This week they open for Serbians or people from Serbia.
Yeah, for example, if you're going to the United States right now from from the Schengen zone, so most of the European Union, it's not allowed. You can't go. So,
So look at
but
that. It
Serbia
pays
is
off not
fine.
to be part of EU, eh?
What's that?
It's good not to be part of Europe. I mean, EU, not Europe.
Yeah,
EU.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Right now, yeah. If you want to go to the United States, but who wants to go to the United States?
But I'm
Because
not Schengen. Bulgaria is not Schengen. We're part
I
of the
just want
EU.
to go to New York. I just want to go to New York City for 2 days to get the vibe, because I feel that civilization is a civilization in decline, and if I don't see it at this point, I might never see it again, right? Like as it was, or as it is now, or whatever it is. Like the whole thing is like uncertain. The whole future is uncertain. Who knows what's going to happen in life? I know I'm not going to Canada this year. Now,
I know. Come meet you somewhere.
yeah.
No way you're gonna be in January, but I may try if you're somewhere I can, hijack your um
Let's go to
travel.
Brazil.
I'll come. I never been. I'll come. In January for like 10 days. I'll come. Like, and that's probably as long as you can tolerate another person traveling with you.
Yeah, probably.
That's
Well,
about it. Maybe a week. 10 days. It's pushing it, but
depends. It depends. It depends. It depends.
it depends. Like, and it's like I always say that traveling with people not only builds character, but it makes you smarter, because then you realize. I went with 23-year-old friend to Detroit last year for Theater Bizarre. And it was like a 3-day trip, you know what I mean? Nothing. 3 days. We drive there 3 days. On the first day, she started freaking out about little things. I'm like, dude, when you travel with people, the first thing you say yourself, This is for 3 days. This is for 10 days. This is
Yeah.
not my life. Then I'll cope with more things. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like things which I really don't like, I'll be still okay with them because it's for a week, it's for 3 days.
Yeah.
If it's like, my life partner and I have to deal with that for a life, then maybe it will come out and I'll be like, what? But for 3 days, like simmer down. If you want the curtains closed at night, just say it.
Hmm.
'Cause- but it teaches you to be tolerant, and I think it builds better. Not I think, I know it builds a better character.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to stop this interview now. Is there anything else you want to talk to me about in this interview?
No,
We
I
can
would like
keep
to
on the call afterwards, but I think we had a
stop
good
the
stop the
good. Like
interview.
no, I had like I no, I think this is it. Mute. If you want to offer any, as I said, I asked it many times to the travelers across the globe who are now like
I
locked
mean,
down by
yeah.
COVID.
My thing is like, yeah, it sounds really great that I've got this amazing life where I get to fly around the world, but I'm at the age, like I'm 37 now. I want to find some way to do this with, while starting a family actually, because I know that that will be my long-term happiness from here. And it's like, yeah, so that's the next step. I need to work on that. Now that I'm through the dark years of being an entrepreneur and worrying about stuff and all that stuff, I need to start a family. So,
Yeah, it will take time to find somebody as free as you.
yeah, exactly. And
Raimuti, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop the interview.
okay, thanks. All right. Thank you.
Love you.